Alright, so here we are now in the salesman file, and we had just submitted our file after our homeowner had it signed, or we had it signed by our homeowner. So we're going to come out here and what that happened there. So we are in here. This is me as a salesman 1. So it just got pushed into the production file. Now only the production manager, office manager, whoever you dictate has access to this one. So it gets pushed right into production. There's also an item. Whoops. There's also an item created in the claim info file at the same time, because we're going to be referencing that later. So it's right there. If we wanted to, then you got the contractor database over here, and you'll want to keep this uploaded or updated because this is where you're going to select your contractors from if you go to create a work order. So if they're not in here, you're not going to be able to get them onto the work order unless you bust out that piece of paper and a pen and go write a work order out. So not very hard to do. In fact, they can do it themselves because there is a web form for every single one of these things. So this is what I had set up. Basically have the guys, instead of people walking in and dropping off their business card and me losing it within the first 15 minutes, I had this activated. Lets me know a little bit about them, gets them in my database, gets their documents, so I'll have all their insurance stuff before I ever even call them for a job. We'll get back up here. Okay, so back to production. So here's a file that I pushed over earlier today, or maybe in yesterday, but it's all filled out. So you got to watch me bounce through the fields, but hopefully you've seen by now it's probably as easier than Facebook. Within the production app here, you got to have we're gonna have the mailing address, because at the end of the process, once you click on file completed or paid in full, actually, it triggers an email, or in my case anyways, it triggered an email to this place called Cookie Advantage that we had make up a big old thank you gift. It was all branded, had stickers and coffee mugs and cookies and recipes and this, that, and the other thing. But right when we started, I didn't have this system in place, and I would forget to order them all the time because there were about 1,000,001 other things that were far more important than cookies, and never got done. So now it gets done every time automatically. You can set filters. For example, we only sent them to jobs that closed that were over $1,000. Your $150, $250 gigs, we didn't get them for those. So it doesn't go out to everybody if you don't want it to. That's completely up to you. You can email your homeowner from right inside Podio. You would just type the message in here. And then when you're ready, you just click send. Moving on down, you see file to production date. This day was created, the date it was imported into here. As was this one, my old goal was to have everything off my desk inside of 15 days. So that is how those numbers came about. Once the status is updated to say file completed, you'll see a date pop up there that says when it was completed. Moving on down, job type, repair, replacement, remodel, outdoor, whatever your fields are, we can edit them. Payment type, we didn't offer credit, so as insurance, cash, or see you later. If you need to share the file with somebody, for example, a PA, maybe you outsource your supplements, you share the file with them. I've had a little luck getting adjusters to use it, so I've got it triggered to share the file with the adjuster right here when we send the final invoice to the insurance company. So as soon as you click on that, the file gets shared with the adjuster and emailed, because I'm sure they'll disregard it most of the time because it's not their process. Anyways, your scope of work will go right in here. roof, siding, gutters, windows, whatever. Assuming there is a roof, you want to put all this information. You got shingle type and color, blah, 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 blah. Right on down the list. All this information is coming off of the insurance docs, so anybody can put it in there. So, as you can see, it's fairly detailed there. And I'm only asking for that information because with that, I am able to calculate everything else that's going to go onto my material order and my work order to my guys. So just by clicking this, I'm pretty much creating both my material order and my work order. There is my roof work order. We're going to pop in here, double check it. So I'm going to relate it to my other file there. There I am. My work order total has already been calculated. You'll see the homeowner name is me, and then in parentheses what the trade is. Reason for that is the dates that are used on these work orders are what populate up here in the calendar. So if I were to not have that populate like that, all you would see is a name. You wouldn't know if you're doing roof, siding, gutters, whatever. So that's why that's that way. My guys always wanted to know if the gutters were being replaced or not, so they knew if they could take them down, how careful they needed to be, any of that. So let's say they're being replaced, rip them apart. We got 100 squares. We're going to pay $98.22 a square. That's based on the information that was pushed over. There may be some revisions that you need to make, which is fine. We haven't created the work order yet, so we'll come through, see if everything looks right. And this is all based off of tear off $25 a square. That's $35 a square. That's 20. Ridge and starter paid the same as the squares. Steeps are 8, 12, and 16. Two-story is 10. An additional layer I think was 10. So that's how all these numbers are being calculated. What else we got down here? Ridge vent. That's something you would have had to put in there. Chimney flashing. I pay $50 for a chimney flashing, so I just, unless there's more than one chimney and he catches me, that usually just stays at 50. Box vents new. I don't particularly like paying for box vents, but I'm only paying for them if they're new. $10 each. There's my roof date. Any notes for the crew? You want to put them right there. And now you need to choose your crew. So where's my, I gotta say, roof. Okay, we'll take the gutter guy then. Anyways, like I was talking about earlier in the contractor database, if you don't have them in there, it says gutters and preferred roofing crew. Interesting. So this is going to be gone. Ignore that. Okay, so this is my roof material order for this file. What's going to happen as soon as I make my material list, which I'll do here in a second, is going to get attached to this email that goes out to the crew. So I'm going to create it. Looks like everything's good to go. And now we're going to, here it is right here. The roofing crew is done. And we're going to go over to the material list. So again, link back to our production item. Got everything pushed over already, so just double check, making sure everything looks like it's correct. Now, there are certain things that will update in here based on certain changes that you do make. For example, it populates, I guess felt would be the most important. It populates at 30 pound. So if you change it from that, because that's how it's getting the number of rolls. You had 33 squares, you got 4 squares a roll. It's coming up at 30, rounded out. Or 8 rolls, rounded out. But that's not going to be the same, say if I had 15 pound. So what happens to my rolls? It should change. It's not. I'll fix that. Anyways, assuming it was all correct and you picked the right starter, you want to pick your ridge. Probably don't want to do that. Drip edge, drip color, nail size. For example, this will update if I ever use synthetic felt. This will update to cap nails. Ventilation type. Just want to pick the type, the color, and the quantity. Spray paint, Flex Seal, those all auto populate. Step flashing. Just put something in there for fun. H clips, not gonna need any. So my material vendor and delivery details. Here, we'll say it's ABC. Once I have your contact information, this will populate as well. I had to take Doogies out of there because I don't want them to get all my test emails. Delivery date. Go ahead and pick a date. Then you're gonna morning, afternoon, evening, anytime. Delivery, drop type. I always do ground drops, so if you've got any obstructions to the job site, note them here. My roof material. Okay, there's my roofing work order. So it shows me what I'm paying for the total, shows me the install date, shows me the price per square, shows me my crew guy's phone number. Where to drop materials, it just defaults to in driveway, do not block garage. Property photos, had I had any in there, they would have pushed over, but I didn't. Homeowner email. Did I just put that in there? No. Now, if there's anything else that you need that's not included in that list above, right. If you're not doing this, I'll tell you what, it's the best thing you can ever do. Those guys, all of a sudden they spoke English. I'll tell you what, it was like overnight. But once I started sending out like these little bags of Gatorade that ABC has, I would just send them out with my materials every time, and they would come to expect them. And I'll tell you what, they really appreciated it, and it really kind of brought our relationship to a whole another level, which was good. It can be a little hairy at times when he's charge me for drip edge. Looks like we got everything in there, so let's go ahead and create our material list. This one's going to take a little bit longer. It's a little bit more going on in the back end there, but nonetheless, we'll probably be done right now. Obviously, we're going to use your work orders. I just left that there to show you how it worked, kind of. Scroll to the bottom. There's our work order. Or our material order. So you got everything you need here. We could pretty it up a little bit, and we will, but this is pretty much what you got going. And that, in a snapshot, is the roofing material order.